Definition: what is a loop? Loops in programming are used to repeat a block of code until the specified condition is met. A loop statement allows programmers to execute a statement of group of statements multiple times without repetition of code. For example, if I need to print hello world a million times, it's very difficult to write hello world a million times. We use the loop. There are mainly two types of loops in C programming. First, we have the entry-controlled loop. In entry-controlled loop, the test condition is checked before the entering of the main body of the loop. We have the entry-controlled loop. We have the for loop and the while loop is an entry-controlled loop. Second type is the exit-controlled loop. In the exit-controlled loop, the test condition is evaluated in the end of the loop body. The loop body will execute at least one. The do-while loop is the exit-controlled loop. Let's see the difference between the entry-controlled loop and the exit-controlled loop. The entry-controlled loop is the for loop and the while loop. The condition is in the first of the loop, like here. But in the exit-controlled loop, the condition is in the end of the loop, like the do-while loop. Now let's see the difference between the for, while, and the do-while. For loop, first we have the initialization, the condition check, the executes the body, and at last the update is done. Initialization, the condition updating, and we have here the body. The while loop, first we have the initialization, then condition checks, and then execute the body, and updating can be inside the body. Do while loop, do while first executes the body, and then the condition is checked is done. We have the body and the condition in the end of the loop. This is the difference between the entry-controlled loop and the exit-controlled loop. For loop. For loop in C programming language is a repetition control structure that allows programmers to write a loop that will be executed a specific number of times. For loop enables programmers to perform n number of steps together in a single line. This is the syntax of the for loop. We have the initialization or the initialized expression, text expression, and the update expression. And we have the body between the braces. For example, the initialization can be, for example, an integer, for example, integer x or integer I. Text expression, for example, I is less than or equal to n, and update expression is the I++, decrement or increment. In for loop, a loop variable is used to control the loop. Firstly, we initialize the loop variable with some value, then check its test condition. If the statement is true, then control will move to the body and the body of the loop will be executed. Steps will be repeated till the exit condition becomes true. If the test condition will be false, then it will stop. Now let's explain the syntax of the for loop, and let's start with the initialization expression. In this expression, we assigned a loop variable or loop counter to some value, for example, integer I. The test expression. In this expression, test conditions are performed. If the condition evaluates to true, then the loop body will be executed and then an update of the loop variable is done. If the test expression becomes false, then the control will exit from the loop. For example, of the test expression, I is less than to 5, for example. Update expression after execution of the loop. Body loop variable is updated by some value. It could be increment or decrement, multiplied or divided by any value. For example, I++ or I minus. This is the decrement and increment. Now let's see an example about the for loop and the flow chart of the for loop. The flow chart with the for loop will start. We have the initialization expression and the test condition. If the test is true, we continue to the block statement. It will be executed, and we have the update expression. And it's repeat till the condition is ended. If the condition is false, the program are stopped. Now look at this example about the for loop. We have include studio, integer main, integer I equal to 0. For we have the initialization I equal to 1. It's an integer. Here it's an integer. Test expression I is less than or equal to 10. And the update expression I++. Here I need to print hello world 10 times. This program will print for me hello world 10 times. The while loop. While loop does not depend of the number of iteration. The execution is terminated on the basis of the test condition. If the test condition will become false, then it will break from the while loop, else body will be executed. Let's see the syntax of the while loop. We have the initialization expression, while the test expression, and the body of the while loop, and finally we have the update expression. This is the syntax about the syntax of the while loop. We start with the initialize expression, for example, integer I equal to 0, while I is less than or equal to 10, the body of the loop, and finally I++ or I minus. This is the flow chart of the while loop. Here we start the loop. We have the test condition. If the test is false, the while loop is end. If the test is true, the body is executed, and we repeat the loop until the condition is end. Let's see an example about the while loop. We'll start with integer main, integer I equal to 2, I is less than to 10, and print hello world I++. This is an example about the while loop. Now the do while loop. The do while loop is similar to a while loop, but the only difference lies in the do while loop is the test condition, which is tested at the end of the body. In the do while loop, the loop body will execute at least one, irrespective of the test condition. Let's see the syntax. We start with the initialization expression, do, open the braces. We have the body of do while loop and the update expression, and we have the while text expression with a semicolon. Here's the semicolon in the while expression, test expression, is very important. This is the syntax of the do while loop, and this is the flow chart. Start the loop. We have the loop body condition. If the condition is true, the program will be executed, and if it is false, the loop is end. Let's see an example about the do while loop. Here we have the initialization expression, I equal to 2, do, open the braces, the loop body starts here, printf hello world, we have the update expression, I++, and the while text expression, and it ends with the semicolon. Now the loop control statements. Loop control statements in C programming language are used to change execution from its normal sequence. We have, for example, here break statement. The break statement is used to terminate the switch and loop statement. It transfers the execution to the statement immediately following the loop or switch. Continue statement. Continue statement skips the remainder body and immediately resets its condition before reiterating. Go to statement. Go to statement transfer the control to the label statement. This is the loop control statement in the C programming language. Now let's do this small exercise. We need to print coding realm 20 times using a for loop. In this exercise, we will start with include studio, integer main, and the for loop. In the for loop, I need to put first the initialization expression, integer, for example, I equal to 0, semicolon. This expression, I less than, I need to print 20 times, less than 20, semicolon also, and the update expression is I plus plus. And I open the braces, and I put here the coding realm to print it 20 times. Let's write the code to see the result. Hashtag include studio.h integer main. Now let's put the for loop for initialization integer I equal to 0, I less than 20, I plus plus, and printf coding realm. And finally return 0. Let's run the code to see the result, and this is our C program using the for loop to print coding realm 20 times. Exercise 1. Write a C program to print all natural numbers from 1 to n using for loop. In this problems, first I need to define n and I, the integer I and n, because I need to print all the numbers between 1 to n. Second step, I need to tell the user to give me a value of n. For example, 10. I print all the natural number between 1 to 10. Third step, I need to print all this number. I need to use the for loop. The for loop is for, we have to initialize integer I. Here I, it starts from 1. Semicolon. I is less than or equal to n, because I need to print all the numbers between 1 to n, and I plus plus. This is the for loop, and this is this problem structure. Let's see how to write the code, and let's start with hashtag include studio.h integer main, open the braces, and let's declare integer I and n. Now printf, enter any number scanf percentage d and n. Now I need to print all the numbers from 1 to n. Printf natural numbers from 1 to n and the semicolon. Now let's use the for loop to print the numbers for integer, or I declared the I here. I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, and I plus plus print all the numbers, percentage d and I, and finally return 0. This is our C programs to print all the natural numbers from 1 to n using the for loop. First, I need to declare I and n. I need to tell the user to give me a value of n, and I need to use the for loop to print all the numbers. Now exercise 2, write a C program to print all the alphabets from A to Z using the while loop. First of all, I need to define the character. Character is a char character. Second step, I need to print all the alphabets from A to Z using the while loop. While loop is while we have a condition. The character here starts from A and end with Z. Here it's mean I need to print all the characters between A to Z. Open the braces. In the while loop I need to print the alphabet print using the printf function and character plus plus. Let's write the code to see the solution, and let's start with hashtag include studio.h integer main and open the braces. Let's define the character char ch equal to a, printf alphabets from A to Z are while the character is less than or equal to Z, printf percentage C because it's a character, and ch, and finally ch plus plus, and the code is end with return 0. This is our C program to print all the alphabets from A to Z using the while loop. I need to define the character, and the character it starts from A and it ends with Z, and I print all the alphabets. Now the exercise number 3, write a C program to print the sum of natural numbers from 1 to n. First of all, I need to define or to declare the integer I, because I need to use the for loop. I need to define n and the sum. Second step, I need to tell the user to give me a value of n, because I need to know from where to where I need to find the sum. Third step, I need to use the for loop to calculate the sum. For we have I equal to 1 and I is less than or equal to n and I plus plus. And here I need to calculate the sum. The sum plus equal to I. This line it's mean sum is equal to sum plus I plus 1. For example, for the first one, or let's write the code to see the result and we run the program. First, let's start with hashtag include studio.h integer main integer I n and sum. Printf enter upper limit scanf %d and n. For the for loop now, I is equal to 1 because I need the numbers from 1 to n, and I is less than or equal to n, I plus plus. Now the sum plus equal to I and the printf sum of first natural number is equal to and the solution n and sum. And finally, or the program, it ends with return 0. Here sum equals sum plus I, it's mean sum equal sum plus I. This is the C program to find the sum of natural number from 1 to n. First, I need to define the I, integer, the n, and the sum. I need to tell the user to give me a value of n, and I use the for loop to calculate the sum, and finally I print the sum on the screen. Now let's run the code to see the result and enter the upper limit, for example 10. This is the sum of the first 10 natural numbers, it's 55. Now the exercise number 4, I need to write a C program to print all the odd numbers from 1 to n. First, I need to define the I, because I need to use the for loop, I and n. Second step, like exercise 1 to 3, I need to tell the user to give me a value of n. And later, I need to use the for loop for I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to n, and I++. With the for loop, I need to use the if statement. If statement here is used to find if the number is odd or even. If the number I is modulo 2, not equal to 0, the number is odd. And I print all the odd numbers from 1 to n. Let's write the code to see the result. And let's start with hashtag include integer main integer I n and printf print odd numbers till scanf %d and n. Printf all odd numbers from 1 to d are n. Now let's use the for loop to find the odd numbers and to print it on the screen. For I equal to 1, I is less than or equal to n, and I++. Now the if statement, if I modulo 2 is not equal to 0, printf I need to print the number. And finally return 0. This is our C program to print all the odd numbers from 1 to n. I need to define I and n, the integer I and n. I need to tell the user to give me a value of n to know from where to where I need to print the odd numbers. And I use the for loop with the if statement to find the odd number and to print it. Here, if the number I modulo 2 is not equal to 0, I need to print this number because it's an odd number. Now let's run the code to see the result. And the odd number 10 till 10, for example, all numbers from 1 to 10 or odd number from 1 to 10 are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now the exercise 5, I need to print a C program to print the multiplication table of a given number. Here I need also to use the for loop. I need to declare the I, integer, and n, and the number n. I need to tell the user to give me n. N is the number to print the table. For example, n is equal to 5. I need to print the multiplication table of the number 5. Later, I need to use the for loop. For here I is equal to 1 and I less than or equal to 10, because I need to print a multiplication table from 1 to 10, and I plus plus. And here I need to put the formula, for example, number time I is equal to, and the solution. Let's write the code to see the result, and let's start with hashtag include studio.h integer main, and let's declare the number I and n. Printf, let's tell the user to give me a value of n. Enter number to print table. Scanf, now let's write the for loop. For I equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. Printf modulo d time modulo d is equal to d, and n I and n time I, and finally return 0. This is our C program to print the multiplication table of a given number. First, I declared I and n. I tell the user to give me a value of n, and I use the for loop to print the multiplication table. Let's run the code to see the result. Enter a number, for example 2. This is the multiplication table of number 2.